Hey guys, Sav here. Today I want to do a little, I guess a recap of the story. Just kind of give you my thoughts and feelings about how this chapter of Living World Season 3 went. Some opinions, some thoughts, some ideas about the story and the map in particular. Let's start with the map. I'm actually standing in the map now, up on a mushroom in the, I don't know, what the hell is this area called? Griffin Old Growth. It's a shit name. Shit name for a cool area. The map is pretty cool. There's a lot to like about the map. The map looks amazing. I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I'm not a big fan of Shiver Peaks maps. As far as Shiver Peaks maps go, this is probably the coolest Shiver Peaks map. I think the main reason I don't like Shiver Peaks maps is because I hate snow. And when I hate snow, I just don't want to be... I don't want to look at snow, I don't want to think of snow. And obviously Shiver Peaks maps make you look and think of snow. Look at and think of snow. So I don't typically like the Shiver Peaks maps. Plus some of the Shiver Peaks maps, I think, in this game, are some of the most boring maps in the game. Take for instance Lornar's Pass. Nothing ever happens in that map. It's one big giant ass map. It's got, I think, like 50 something points of interest if you're map completing. It's an annoying map. I'm not a fan of Frostgorge Sound. I don't like the Call of Jormag. Snowden Drift's a boring map. There's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just don't like the Shiver Peaks maps. And this, I kind of cringed a little bit when I found out we were going north because I don't like the Shiver Peaks. However, this map's pretty good. As cold and snowy as most of it is, I still like it. There's a lot to like in this map. Like I said, these trees in this area of the map are really cool. The Hot Springs area is pretty cool. With that said, there's some like annoying mechanics to this map. But I did a lot of farming in Ember Bay when Ember Bay came out. I probably did every heart in Ember Bay every day for like 2 weeks, with multiple characters. I think one weekend, like a Friday and a Saturday night, I might have spent like a total of 20 hours in Ember Bay with just rotating between all my characters, doing everything there is to do in those maps. In that map, I'm sorry. I didn't quite do that nearly as much in Bloodstone Fen. I did spend some time in Bloodstone Fen, but overall I didn't find Bloodstone Fen that exciting. I found Bloodstone Fen kind of small. Even though it's very vertical, it's a small map, so I didn't really like Bloodstone Fen. I haven't really spent that amount of time that I did in Ember Bay. I haven't really spent that amount of time in this map yet. There's a lot of things I'm working on. I'm working on a legendary, so I've been doing a lot of Arc Base and multi-loots and things of that nature, just stuff to make money. So I'm basically trying to make money as fast as possible and not just do like cool farms, because I think the farm on this map is a pretty cool farm, and I think it's going to be worth doing. It's just not the fastest way to make gold right now, and the fastest way to make gold right now, unfortunately, is the multi-loot in Arc Basin. And some of the mechanics I was getting at are kind of annoying in this map, and I think what's actually stopping me from coming in here and farming is those mechanics. The one mechanic being the one heart. You have to get 3 sets of armor in order to just talk to the heart NPC. Or 3 pieces of armor to make 1 set. It's cool. It's great if you just so happen to get it while you're doing the heart, but if you don't, and you complete the heart and you still don't have all 3 pieces, you spend a lot of extra time, or some extra time, depending. It could actually, today I did it, and I spent a good, I don't know, 5 extra minutes trying to find a 3rd piece of armor. It can be really frustrating and annoying. Just so I could go buy something from the heart vendor, which you can do daily. You can buy the berries, the winter berries from the vendor. So you want to get the armor pieces, and you want to go see the vendor so you can get the winter berries, because it's a nice bonus. And it's a pain in the ass when you can't get all 3 pieces of armor just so you can go talk to the Are we gonna do this again, really? Yeah, she keeps talking to an NPC in the area that I can't actually hear. She's far enough out of earshot. She's actually over next to the heart. And if you look at my little mini map here, she's talking to an NPC over there, and I can't actually hear what the NPC is saying, but she's responding to the NPC, which is annoying. But anyway, continuing on. So that is annoying. To go to the northern part, the northeastern part of the map, you have to collect all these items from the map, use some of the map currency just to make this elixir so you can go to the top right corner of the map. There's absolutely no reason to go to the top right corner of the map, I've found. Once you've map completed and done everything you need to do up there. Now, I've completed all the achievements and stuff for this map, with the exception of the two really long and boring ones. Where am I going here? Story journal, cracking the ice. See, I have the I've mastered it. Cracking the ice mastery complete. There's two things left to do: the Gift of Orient and Coda's Blessing, but they didn't actually they're not actually part of the mastery for it. So, because they're actually long and drawn out processes. The Gift of Orient costs something in the neighborhood of like 300 or 400 gold, and Coda's Blessing I think is even more. And this is more of like a scavenger hunt type dealio for basically a plus 50% karma, which you put on. It's an enrichment. You put it on your amulets, and it gives you a little like effect. It gives you like a glowing fire effect on your chest, which is really underwhelming. So I haven't really bothered to try for it yet. I think I will at some point, but I haven't gotten to the point where I feel like doing it yet. So, but back to what I was saying. So, in order to go to that top, the northeast corner of the map, you have to obviously get the elixir, which basically takes you all the other corners of the map in order to make it. Is it worth it? I mean, it is a daily. However, the daily seems to be bugged at the moment, and it seems to be giving it to me as I log in every day after reset. So, at the moment, it's not worth doing if it just keeps giving it to me daily without even trying. As you can see right now, I don't have the buff today, but I also don't have the daily active. And I mean, I could have done it on other characters, I guess, but I didn't. You just have to take my word for it. Anyway, so let's get around to the story, because that's really what the meat of this video is going to be. Just talking about the story a little bit. The first step of the story with Aurene in the Ark Basin in Ta'Vere, the trials and tribulations, if you will. That is, on the first playthrough, it was really annoying. I've played it through 2 more times since, and now that I know what to do, I just kind of breeze through it. I kind of get that on all of the stories, I guess. All the new stories on Living World Season 3. The first time you play through it, there's very little explanation sometimes on what to do. The one part of my first video that if you guys watched it, you saw that I was supposed to kill the portals, but I didn't see the text, so I was kind of running around like an idiot, just killing everything, and having to res, and it ended up being a pain in the ass. That was more of my own fault. But like I did learn later on, after on my second or third playthrough, the part with the maze where you have to destroy the whatever they're called, whatever spawning the uses, you have to destroy them. You don't actually physically do any damage to it yourself. Aurene actually has to do the damage to it. And she's talking to that NPC again. Anyway, so that was something I didn't actually. It's not that big of a deal, but if I had known that, if there was something that told me that, I probably would have approached it a little bit differently. In my first playthrough, that's kind of one thing that I find the most annoying about the story. It's basically just my first playthrough and not knowing what to do. But now that I know what to do, breeze right through it. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard, and it's probably better played a second or third time through. You'll probably enjoy it more. I'm not a big fan of having to sit there and listen at the end. Like at the end of that video, there's like 5 minutes where you sit there and listen to Taimi talk, and the head of Ta'Vere, I forget her name off the top of my head, you have to listen to them talk, and you're just sitting there listening, and there's no way to skip it. So on on playthroughs later on, you still have to sit there and listen to it. So it's actually preventing me from doing it on more characters right now. Just all the talking, blah 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 blah. Like I already know, I just want to skip through it. Let me skip it, and there's no skipping. After that, we go to Hulbrecht, which you can actually skip a lot of dialogue after the first mission. You can actually go in, talk to those shamans or whatever in Hulbrecht that you're supposed to talk to, and just keep pressing the F button, and they'll just skip right through their dialogue, and you're complete. And it's so much easier, and it actually becomes a theme as you're going forward, even all the way up until the final story mission. It's just the two missions, the bookend missions, where you can't do that. But everything in between, you can absolutely do that. Then you come into Bitterfrost Frontier, and same thing. You can just every green star you have to go and speak to somebody. You can just click F right through it, and you don't have to sit there and listen to them, yap. Which is actually funny because when you go talk to the Grawl, if you do on the first playthrough, the Kodan will sit there and tell you, hey, don't offend these guys. We're trying to make an alliance with them, and you'll just interrupt him in the middle of speech. He goes, "Watch your step. You're in my territory now." And you're just like, "Oh shit!" I think I pissed him off. So it was actually kind of neat in that regard. So that was enjoyable, I guess. So anyway, after you talk to the Grawl, then you go to the hot springs, you make your elixir, talk to the Quaggan over there. Then you go up to the northeast corner, the what the hell is it called? The Bitter Cold. You go up to the Bitter Cold. Now you have your elixir. You're all elixired up, and you go in there and you have a fight with some kind of like effigy or ice brood something or other. That fight was pretty good. Obviously, better on the second or third playthrough, but it didn't take me long to figure out that fight on the first playthrough. You guys obviously saw, watched it on a couple videos ago. And the achievements were real easy to do. Once you know what to do, you just go in and you don't kill the worms unless the whatever the thing is, the ice brood thing is there. You kill the worms. You can minimize the amount of worms that you kill. And the achievements were real easy to get. Made the subsequent playthroughs were much quicker. Even though the first playthrough, really, like I said, I picked up on it pretty quick, and the first playthrough was even quick. So that wasn't hard to do at all. But I guess what we really want to talk about is the final story step. And not only is there a lot to talk to in regards to Bram, the character, but there's a lot to talk about the story mission itself. The mission itself is annoying. I hate that story mission. It is another reason why I really haven't gone back and played through it too many times. Like I said, I've played through it 3 times. Normally I play through it, 4, 5, or 6 times. But I've already actually bought the Bitterfrost Frontier Porter Skull because I don't want to do the story anymore. I just want to bring my characters up to this map and without having to do the story. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to use the Portal Scroll to skip through the story. And it's unfortunate because I didn't do that with the Ember Bay story, and I didn't do that. I didn't do that with the Bloodstone Fen story because I didn't feel like the story missions were that bad, so I wanted to do the story missions with as much of my characters as possible. And I guess it's kind of silly to say, well, the final step is what's keeping me from bringing them up because you only have to do the first 2 steps to get into the map. But I don't like starting the story missions and then have these green arrows on my map the whole time. I'd rather, I guess it's just a personal thing. I don't want to, I don't like to be incomplete. So I'd rather just not start it so I don't have to feel the need to complete it, I guess, if you will, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But the final story step is definitely what's keeping me from replaying the story over and over and over again. Not because of Bram, and I'll get to Bram at the end of the video and my thoughts and opinions on how his character played out. But the actual mission, the story mission itself is really annoying, and I cut a lot of stuff out of my video because it was just mindless, boring combat. Literally just killing things repeatedly over and over and over again. I understand you want to put some content in your stories and you want something for us to do in the story missions, but it was fucking boring. It was just fucking boring. Excuse my language, but it was boring. Some of the waves lasted 4 or 5 minutes. I did it with my Necro, and sometimes it was lasting longer than that. It's too much. Like, they could have cut a lot of, like the first like 3 encounters have like 4 or 5 waves of enemies, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm done fighting this shit. I get the point. Can I just move on? Like, I don't know. It seemed overdone to a lot of extent, and it really just made the whole story mission itself just drag out and seem so much longer than it actually probably had to be. 1 or 2 waves, move on. 1 or 2 waves, that would have been fine. But like I said, like the spiders, you probably fight like 40 spiders. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? I guess they're trying to drive home that it's dangerous, but like I just felt like it was overkill. I really just felt like it was overkill. And then the final battle with the, I don't know actually what it's called, the beast, the ice. It looks like a minotaur, whatever the hell it is. There was, I mean, I cut a lot. I left in my video a lot of anger, but I cut so much more out. I was literally getting pissed off at that mission because I had absolutely no fucking clue what to do. No clue. And there was no explanation to be anywhere. There was no hints. There was no explanation. It literally just said, slay the beast. And Bram's yelling at you the whole time, this is a counterfeit scroll. Where's the real one? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to find them. I don't know what to do. Nothing. You saw me. I was attacking everything. I was attacking the beast. I was attacking the elementals. I was attacking the rocks. I didn't know what to do. Now, obviously, on subsequent playthroughs, now that I know what to do, it goes a lot quicker. I got the achievement rather easily. The achievement's not hard to get on a second or third playthrough. It's impossible to get on the first playthrough. And that shit like that annoys the shit out of me. Like, there's no reason why you can't give me an explanation on what to do. Like, the first, I think of the final story mission for Bloodstone Fen, when you're going up to see Caudicus, and you're basically, like, every step of the way you're going, you're learning a different mechanic of the battles to come. So the final battle, you know exactly what to do, and you kill the fucking thing. I don't know why they couldn't do something like that. They had all these encounters leading up to the final encounter. Why couldn't they mix some of those elements into those encounters so you knew what to do at the final stage? Or just flat out tell me what to do, instead of just leaving it so vague as slay the beast. Stuff like that just annoys me. Overall, now that I know what to do, it's not so bad. The battle's not that hard at all. But the story mission itself still just annoys me because of everything leading up to that battle. It just takes so long. And then again with the dialogue at the end, forgetting for a minute about the actual substance of the dialogue, again, it's unskippable. You have to sit there and you have to listen to it for however long it takes. And it takes a couple minutes. It's not like a 30-second clip. It's you guys are literally arguing back and forth, Bram and your character, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And it's whatever you think of the dialogue, it's uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in a room with 2 people arguing back and forth like that, and you're the third person. You're just like, I just want to be out of here. Like, that's how Rox feels, I'm sure. Like, you watching it probably feel like Rox. You're like, oh my god, this is really uncomfortable. Because it is. It's just uncomfortable listening to people argue like that, and they're really going back and forth. And I guess that'll bring me to the final part of the video here, and that's talking about the whole thing with Bram and his new attitude, and we'll go into some speculation, I guess, too. It was definitely well done. Don't get me wrong, it was very well done. I'm not trying to say just because now that they did what they went to do, I think, and they want us to hate Bram right now, and I think most people do. Like, he really came off as a fucking jerk, and he's going to probably get himself killed doing what he's doing, and I think they portrayed that perfectly. Everybody out there now hates Bram, but you should hate Bram not because his character is bad, and it's actually very well done. It kind of reminds me of like the governor in Walking Dead. Like everybody hated the governor, but his character was really good, and because you hated the governor so much because his character was so good. So I think I'm not going to go that far and say that's where Bram is right now, but it's in that direction, if you know what I mean. It was well done. The whole argument, the whole disagreement thing. However, it feels a little inconsistent. And when you look at like the end of Heart of Thorns, and you have the option to take Bram with you into the battle, and I think most of us did, maybe not everybody, but I think probably a good majority of us did, because his mom died, let's face it. He kind of and like with the dialogue during the battle, after the battle, he kind of seemed like he was satisfied with the ending and satisfied with you and everything, and then all of a sudden now he's like mad at you and the player character, and there's kind of no explanation for it. I'm sure there will be an explanation for it, and it definitely points in some directions of why he's mad at you, but again, it just seems inconsistent, because during Heart of Thorns he didn't come off like that at all, like he had any problem with you in particular. He was just upset about the loss of his mother, which is obviously understandable. But now all of a sudden it seems like he has a problem with the player character, and I find that just a bit inconsistent. I think they're going to need to clear it up in the next, whatever story mission they clear it up in, or they bring it back in, I should say. They need to clear it up and make it make sense. And just some speculation on my part. Obviously, it looks like the Norn are going to go fight Jormag, regardless of what happens with Taimi. Regardless of what the commander, the player character says, the Norn are probably going to go fight Jormag, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good story twist. I think I read somewhere somebody was complaining, saying the scroll was like a Deus Ex Machina again, and it's not. It was kind of introduced, but I mean, there's if you go back in the lore, I mean, you can read about, I forget the Norn's name. He's mentioned a few times throughout the story that cracked the tooth before. Well, this is how he cracked the tooth before. He had a scroll like this. It's in the lore. It's not something that was just made up for this. So he just wanted to go out and find his own version of the scroll. Yes, we had no knowledge of it before. No, there was no mention of him looking for a scroll before this chapter, but it's not a Deus Ex Machina. It's a real thing. It's not just something that was made up. It's real in the lore. It was there before. So I didn't have any problem with that. I read somewhere. I don't remember where I even read that. Somebody was complaining about it, and people were kind of like jumping on board with them, like, yeah, it's just stupid writing. It's not stupid writing. It's there in the lore, guys. You can find it. It's not hard. I also like how Roxxon kind of mentioned that Caudicus is on his way up to the Isles of Janthier. It kind of gives us an idea where we're probably going within one of the next chapters of the Living Story, whether it's the next one or one of the following. I kind of like how we're going all over the place. We have a lot of different things going on between Jormag, between Primordus, between Caudicus, between what the hell's his name, the Mursak guy. There's a lot of directions to go. Aurene hatched, so we're kind of going all over the place. I'm almost kind of afraid, and I said at the beginning of I said in the beginning of the playthrough of the chapter that I felt like we're just checking in on Primordus and we're checking in on Jormag. It's kind of ArenaNet reminding us that they're still there, and then for whatever reason we're going to decide Krakator's the biggest threat, and that's where we're going next. I'm kind of starting to lean towards now, and I think Wood and Potatoes has been saying this, that we're going to kill probably both of them in the Living Story, and I don't like that at all. I know, like, a lot of people don't want, like, the dragons to be the focal point of all of the expansions, but I feel like killing them in the Living Story, like, how long these Living Story chapters are, like, I just feel like it'd be, you're not giving the dragons the credit or the attention that you probably should if you're just killing them off in a living story chapter. I don't like that at all. I'm not saying I want my expansion solely based on them anymore, but I just feel like, especially if we're going to cramp 2 of them into one living story, Jormag and Primordus, I don't know. I don't like it. I really don't. So I hope that's not what's going to happen, but it does kind of seem like that it might. I really hope not, guys. I really do hope not. I just feel like they won't do enough justice to these dragons. These dragons are supposed to be big threats, and to me, killing them off in a living story just shows us that they weren't really as big of a threats as Zhaitan and Mordermoth were, because Zhaitan got a whole game based on, around fighting him, and then Mordermoth got a whole expansion, a short to the point expansion, but a whole expansion, and then we're just going to fight two Elder Dragons, Primordus and Jormag, in the living story between what's likely going to be Mordermoth and Krakatork. I don't know. It would be disappointing again. And the reason why I'm suggesting that it's probably going to be Krakatork, if you guys haven't seen the leaks, there has been a lot of leaks out there. There was one that was even not blatantly, but one that Arena can't even cover up, that they accidentally changed the worm models, the jungle worm models. So if you were in, say, Twilight Arbor fighting the worms in there, they had a different model of them. I forget exactly what people were speculating they look like, but these creatures that their models were replaced by are actually creatures from, like, the Crystal Desert, where Krakatork is right now. So, and then there was a leaked image of, like, a city, which looked like a place in the Crystal Desert. So I mean, I'm pretty convinced at this point we're going to the Crystal Desert and we're fighting Krakatork in the next expansion. I'm almost completely convinced of that. So I guess I need to be convinced one way or the other exactly what's happening with Jormag and Primordus, whether we're killing them in the living story or we're just checking in on them. I'm not 100% sure yet, and I'll be honest with you, I'll be disappointed if we're killing them. I kind of will be, especially both of them. Maybe one of them I can kind of see and maybe get away with it, but both of them, it just kind of lessens them, I think, a little too much for my liking. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Again, I'm sorry, I mentioned this in a video before, I just kind of, sometimes in these videos, I just kind of stand here and you listen to me talk. I wish I had something better to do, but talking and getting my thoughts together and then moving around and doing things at the same time doesn't usually mix well. So we get this instead. And I don't feel like playing something randomly and just talking over that, having a voiced over video of just me, I don't know, doing hearts and map completion and stuff like that is really all that exciting. So, but it probably is more exciting than me just standing here.